Hi, welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. We're going to be talking about all the anime we're watching on week 9 of summer 2018. I am Dead Inside, and this is my co-host, JT.
Hi, how's it going, Dead Inside?
I'm Rex, but I'm very sad this week, because sad things happened.
Yeah, some really sad things happened in a few episodes of shows we're watching this week.
But before that, what have you been watching this week besides seasonal stuff?
I have been trying to catch up on Index, Certain Magical Index. I am 16 episodes through the second season now.
So you're watching all of Index and Railgun, right?
I'm going to watch all of... I finished first season of Railgun, and then I'm going to watch the second season of Index, and then I'm going to catch up on JoJo's and probably go back to Railgun later. Because... as far as I understand, the second season of Railgun doesn't really encompass events that are going to be happening in season 3 of Index. So it kind of goes back in events that happened back in Index season 1, because events just in Railgun happen simultaneously of Index.
Yeah.
But it's just through a different character's perspective. So what have you been watching?
More of the same. I've also been watching Index. Just getting ready for the next season. I'm like episode 20 of the first season of Index so far. I'm probably just going to watch all of Index and then watch all of Railgun because whatever. I mean, I have the time. Might as well.
That is true.
Get it done.
So what'd you think of Index so far?
It's really fun. It's like a 90s... It's really 90s feeling.
Yeah.
I like the sound effects, the music, just the general like feel of the show, where there's high stakes, but it's also got lots of comedy in it.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say that it's a pretty basic shonen battle series, kinda, but also it's still a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I'm watching the dub, so Monica Rial's Index. I just love Monica Rial's voice.
Yeah, Monica Rial is really funny. I always thought it was Rial, not Ryle, but I don't know. Her voice is really riling, I guess. Ha ha ha. I should kill myself. But
we got some news coming up for the next 3 weeks. We're going to be working. We're going to be taking a trip to Hawaii.
Yep.
For some work, which is going to make it a little difficult to record. And that on top of the fact that when we started recording this podcast, we were trying to do it in a way where we could watch all the episodes that came out that week and then record. So we decided to wait a week. But for some shows, we didn't wait a week. Some shows we were watching as they come out, and some shows we were watching as they didn't.
Yeah, and it just kind of staggered out to be very awkward. So this week, on Wednesday, I want to say the episode 10 of Banana Fish is already out. So we're a week behind on a couple shows. So we're going to be talking about events that people already know about and have already happened. So it kind of seems
we're just gonna mulligan this season.
Yeah.
When we get back in 3 weeks, we're gonna talk about the last 3 episodes that we didn't talk about of each show.
Yeah.
So it's probably gonna be a little bit longer of an episode. But we'll cover the stuff that we missed while we were gone. And with that said, I think we're good to get into our first show of the week, which is Angolmois.
Oh my god, this episode was just awesome to watch. We start out realizing that Jinzaburo apparently is a talented model maker, being able to make an entire replica of the castle.
Well, yeah, that was shown before when he was in the village with the people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, first or second episode, and he was just sitting in the middle of the village. And he was drawing out a map of the village, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's amazing!"
Yeah, but it's even more impressive here because he made an entire castle that covers an even bigger thing, and it was and it was in a 3D model, all the different hills and stuff like that, just the different types of terrains and choke points. That it just was really cool to see. But and then we also find out that the Mongols outnumber the samurai 1,000 to 160 men. As you said, it's 300, but with less people.
Less sweaty, glistening bodies.
Yeah, and banana hammocks.
Yeah.
Leather banana hammocks.
So we get more of Shiraishi. being an asshole. I was like thinking maybe he'll have an endgame. Even though he killed the innocent villager girl, maybe he'll have an endgame. But no, he's just a traitorous bastard. And he like lets a bunch of people in, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, that was actually a hard scene to watch because he tells the because he says, "Oh, the Mongols are coming over here. You guys should go. You guys should leave to the south gate, and I'll hold them off here." And then a few of them leave, but then a few of them don't. And they say, "We trust you completely. We want to hold out with you till the end here." And then they die.
Yeah, so what makes Shiraishi even more selfish is he says, "Why do you have to make me suffer more? Or why must you continue my suffering?" It's just like, fuck off.
It's like, dude, you're the one who chose this.
Yeah.
Nobody else but you chose this.
I like that, after that, the Mongols were defeated by, what they call it, a fire curse.
Yes, a fire curse.
But it was actually just their like controlled burn strategies for like farming or like preparing area for farming or something.
Yeah.
Thought that was really cool.
And we actually got to see some guys falling off the side of the wall on fire.
Oh yeah, and then the like guy crawls up to him, just melting.
That was real. Man, that must have been a terrible way to go.
Yeah, burning alive.
Oh god. But we also get to see more of Jinzaburo's brilliant strategizing when, they're going to be probably getting ready to attack us soon. Maybe we should attack them first.
Oh, yeah.
And then
just runs out and attacks them and then runs back really quick.
Yeah. And then we got to see a double ambush. We got to see one ambush from above in the trees and another ambush below in the bushes. You should have watched the bushes beneath your feet.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that coming. Like, I expected the tree ambush.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that spread. Also, I like that they were just holding leaves up. And they're like, "There's no leaves in the tree this time of the year. Shoot the trees."
Oh my
But yeah, the bush ambush was
that was really cool.
I guess we're both going to die this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really cool.
But we also got
what was his face?
Oni
Takamaru. He just
doing his best Donkey Kong impression and throwing stuff off of ladders and just taking a bunch of dudes down with the freaking logs.
And to be fair, like I wouldn't expect someone to throw a log at me.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And I like how they even had like a little tongue-in-cheek joke about it later. It's like they're not getting close enough for me to throw logs at.
Oh, the siege machines are really cool too.
Oh yeah,
all the worker women in the village.
Yeah,
they just like have makeshift woman-powered trebuchets.
Oh yeah, that was so cool. That actually reminded me a little bit of a scene from Princess Mononoke. You know, it was that same kind of deal. They were like, it was women primarily that were powering this forge. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool, and it just reminded me a little bit. I don't know how feudalism in Japan worked if women actually did stuff like that. If so, how very progressive of them. That's actually pretty cool.
But then the final scene of Shiraishi like challenging Jinzaburo. Jinzaburo shows up and he's like, "Hey, did you see those Mongols that got past here?
Are you sure you don't want to go with them?"
Yeah, and then Shiraishi turns around. Basically, it's like, "Well, it's good that you showed up because if I don't bring your head back, they're not going to let me. The Mongols aren't going to let me come back."
Oh, God. And then we're going to see like an epic showdown between those two, hopefully, here pretty soon.
I think that Shiraishi wants, like, he's going to try and kill Jinzaburo and take his head back. But I feel like if he gets killed by Jinzaburo, that's also part of what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's
between a rock and a hard place at this point.
Like, he's already just done so much shitty stuff, and he probably hates himself for it.
Yeah.
So death at this point wouldn't be bad.
And I think actually his betrayal, he actually makes a good note about betrayal. You can't just betray somebody once. As soon as you start, you cannot stop doing it. So you just have to keep lying and keep digging your own grave even deeper. And that's got to be eating him alive. But at the same time, it's something he chose. So
stick with it.
I have a hard time actually feeling a little bit of sympathy towards him. Like, I want to, but at the same time, I can't.
Nah, he's just an asshole.
Also, something we also forgot to mention, the epic, I'm going to jump in the air on horseback and dodge every single arrow in the galaxy.
Main character powers. Also extend to your horse.
Oh, God, that was hilarious to watch. We've seen some pretty ridiculous things happen in the show before, but that was just hilariously ridiculous.
The show does a good job of mixing kind of realistic battles with shonen flair.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me a lot of Drifters, actually, in that regard.
Yeah.
Which, Drifters was a good show, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. Go watch it.
But, that's all for Angolmois, as far as I can think of. We just are going to see an epic battle eventually between Shiraishi and Jinzaburo. Next up, though, we're going to be talking about Asobi Asobase. And this was an Olivia-centric episode.
Yeah, best girl episode!
Yeah, Olivia! But, it was divided into 3 skits. 1, the troubles of being a fake foreigner. 2, it's basically a continuation where she gets nominated to be part of their English-speaking representative for this competition. And 3, we get to meet her brother we didn't know she had.
Her brother was...
He's like a stereotypical neckbeard.
Yeah, pretty much.
But what's hilarious with that whole thing is, like, he's got, like, these glasses, these kind of, like, this fat face, but really thin lips, kind of like rabbit-looking teeth.
But his eyes are gorgeous.
His eyes are gorgeous. He takes off his glasses, and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah. It's just like... like
a
guitar riff. That's what they do that every time they show his eyes.
That was funny. But we basically get to see once more of how much Kasumi is a terrible person, because she knows at this point that Olivia can't speak English and or speak it very well. And so Hanako's solution is, I'm going to pass a note around this class saying that to start a rumor. That way nobody really knows it was me who started the rumor.
Hanako wants to help Olivia. Hanako wants to make her school situation a little easier by making everyone... stopping the whole rumor that Olivia doesn't understand Japanese very well.
Yeah, and that was actually really funny, because at first Hanako's like, I kind of want to see her dangle a little bit. It could be funny that way, but she decides, okay, you know what? I'm going to help, but at the same time, I'm going to be indirect about it. So I'm going to pass this note around, and Kasumi gets a hold of the note, and then she has this existential crisis of, this will ruin my life.
I don't want to be stuck in the past club with Hanako's melted face.
That's pretty much what it boils down to, because her whole worry is that if Olivia actually is known to speak good Japanese, she'll fit in with everybody else better.
Yeah, that was what I said last episode, that Olivia's like the most socially normal.
Yeah, of the three of them.
Yeah.
But then, so when Kasumi gets a hold of the note, she changes it a little bit. She's good at Japlish. And Linkos, whatever the fuck that means.
I feel like this is a joke that they didn't translate.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense in Japanese, probably.
Japlish makes a little bit of sense, but it's kind of like Spanglish.
Yeah.
But what is Linkos? I don't know what that means.
I didn't really care enough to look it up or anything.
And then, oh my god, so getting onto the next skit, which is they wanted to help Olivia out with the English-speaking thing.
Yeah. Robot.
Yeah, it turns out that Maida, which is Hanako's answer to everything, just call Maida, who apparently just is there every single time. Like, he just shows up and it's like, I'm gonna call Maida. I'm already here. Yeah. And they rebuild the robot that Hanako destroyed a couple episodes ago, but they rebuilt it to make it look like basically a sex doll version of Olivia. And it speaks really good, albeit very vulgar English.
It's also very violent.
It is very violent. I've actually tried to strangle their teacher when the teacher was trying to say, you should speak more cordially or more proper English, and then she starts trying to strangle her.
Fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, fuck you. And it's like all flipping her off. And oh my god.
That was probably my favorite scene of this episode.
And then And then the final skit pretty much was just Hanako fantasizing about what Olivia's older brother could look like. If Olivia holds him in such high esteem, he must be gorgeous and talented and handsome and all this fun stuff. And then stereotypical neckbeard.
Yeah, just
except for very pretty eyes.
Yeah. And then they go to, like, get the manga back. Because Olivia was reading manga in class.
And, yep, they got it confiscated. And the thing is, people have noticed, or people in the episode noticed that Olivia's brother seems seems more normal over the phone, which I guess you could attribute to that just being a common case of, like, social anxiety or something. Like,
I mean, it's like, it's the neckbeard thing.
But
it's
exactly.
Like, over the internet, they can be anyone they want to be. Like,
of course.
Hanako thought, he's like, oh, he sounds so hot over the phone.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, just reading it, maybe it's just because I'm American, and I see that stuff on, like, Reddit and stuff, where it's just like, oh, neckbeard cringe, quote unquote.
Oh, God, yeah. But they exchange, at the end of this whole debacle, they exchange email addresses, and Hanako basically just says, yeah, I'll do it, because the situation is just too awkward for me to say no at this point.
I think doesn't he, like, send her a picture?
Yeah, it sends a picture of his eyes specifically, because that's his only good feature. But this episode was funny.
Yeah, that's it for Asobi. Next up, we have Attack on Titan, which was a super hype episode.
Holy crap.
That fight was so good.
Yeah, it was basically just the return of the Levi escape scene. With Studio Whip pulling out all their stops to make a really cool action scene. I think everybody really got a chance to shine in this episode. Like everybody in Levi Squad anyway. Because we got to see Armin firing smoke flares to like distract the Kenny squad.
Armin was firing smoke flares in reaction to people aiming their guns at people, which is like maybe 3, 4, 5 second reaction time. Oh, they pull the gun up, boom, fire the smoke flare, so that it makes it harder for them to see.
Yeah, they we also got to see we got to see Connie kill somebody, almost get killed in the process, but then Sasha with the save shot with her bow and arrow. John doing some really cool work going around, like sneaking up behind people, like appearing through the smoke and then just slitting people's
a little redemption for John.
Yeah. Like, I didn't hesitate this time, sort of.
Nobody hesitated, actually. Like,
yeah. Everybody killed people. And
then the Mikasa just, like, spinning and flipping around through the air. That was
spinning and flipping through the air, like, managing to, like, catch a guy in the side of the head and kick him into a pillar, like, and just pin him against the pillar with her foot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That whole fight was just... I love how they knew they were going in against enemies that had an advantage at range. So they used the oil to create a smoke screen. Mm-hmm. And then they also used their flares to block vision.
Yeah.
And they maneuver around a certain way, because like the anti-personnel maneuver gear had the weakness of the anchors being attached to the hands.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming the reason they did that is to make it so it was easier to use. Mm-hmm. Because it's a lot easier to just point somewhere and then fire the hook than it is to, like, angle your
waist. Yeah, your hips, your waist.
In certain ways. That's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Especially for, like, pinpoint movements where you have to
exactly
anchor on certain things. Anyway, yeah. So they realized the weakness was right behind them.
Yep.
So they had to maneuver that way. So they used all the tools available to them to overcome that disadvantage they had.
Yep, but even with that, somebody still didn't escape totally unscathed on Levi Squad. Oh, Hanji.
She's probably alive.
She's probably fine, but she got impaled by one of the omnidirectional hooks and then thrown into the ground.
Yeah.
So she's not unscathed.
Yeah, she's not fine, but she's probably alive.
Yeah. We also got to see I actually wrote a couple things, like, why is Kenny trying to help Eren was one of the questions that I had. Because we see in this episode just how much of a piece of shit Rod Race really is.
So, with Kenny wanted, at least what I've seen from this episode, Kenny wanted to get the Titan powers.
Yeah.
And that's why he was working with Rodrice the whole time. And then Rodrice essentially told him that, sorry, that'll never work.
Yeah.
Your work here is done. You can leave now.
Mm-hmm.
So at Kenny, that he's just pissed off.
Mm.
So, he just goes up and he, slits Aaron's head. He cuts Aaron's forehead open. And he's like, alright, well, I'm not going to kill you, but no head starts. So I'm assuming he was trying to activate Aaron's Titan powers.
Yeah, that was really cool. But we also get to see, we hear about the quote-unquote founding Titan now. I don't know entirely what that means, but I imagine it has something to do with, Aaron's Titan scream that has the ability to control all the other Titans. I don't know what exactly that is, though. But, because I've heard that later it's revealed that, it's later revealed. I'm not going to say what it is. Okay. I'm just saying later is revealed what Aaron's Titan form is actually called. Everybody has a title, like the Armored Titan, the Beast Titan, the Jawed Titan, blah-de-blah, all that stuff. But we get introduced to the idea of the Founding Titan, which I'm assuming is just was the original Titan, maybe. But I don't know. And we get to see more of Rod Race, I must not become a Titan myself.
Oh god, he sucks.
Yeah.
He's just pawning his responsibilities on everyone else under the guise that I have to be around to control everything or else everything won't go well.
Yep, exactly. Which is why he was trying to use Historia in the first place. Mm-hmm. His own daughter, of all people.
Yeah, he was sitting there, pretty much handed the needle to her, saying, you have to do this. You have to save your sister. You have to bring her back. Just basically lying to her, because she's not going to come back. She might have the memories, mm-hmm. but, the wording he used was, you have to bring your sister back.
Oh, God. It was just horrible.
When he could have the whole time, he could have just injected it into his own arm.
Mm-hmm. Which, a quick note, apparently what's in the syringe is Titan spinal fluid.
Yeah, something like that.
Which, that's really weird to me. I was just like, oh, cool. So it's a spinal tap.
I wonder what it tastes like.
But we also get to see a little bit more exploration of Aaron's character, which Aaron's character has been pretty one-note at this point in time. Just, I'm angry that my mom got killed in front of me. I have to kill every single Titan. Here we get a little bit of depth to him suffering from horrendous survivor's guilt. Just, mm-hmm. I imagine that everything had just finally caught up to him, and just having this revelation that what had really happened.
What his dad had done.
And had just finally caught up to him and made him break all at once. So he starts crying and begs Historia. It's like, okay, you have to be the one to kill me. You need to eat me. You need to change this. Which apparently some people did not like. I actually looked on Kitsu and said they do not like... Some say they do not like this pussy bitch Aaron. If only the show's protagonist wasn't a piece of shit crybaby. So, harsh words.
Aaron's always been, not necessarily a crybaby, but he's always been really emotional.
Yeah.
He's been crazy emotional the whole series. Whenever he gets mad, he gets really mad.
Yeah.
So if gets sad, he's gonna get really sad.
He's, exactly. That's actually a good point. I think I remember also, when they were talking about the three main characters back when they were in their cadet days, they said that Armin is basically the brains, Mikasa's basically the strength, Aaron's the heart, mm-hmm. which I think kind of applies really, really here, because his emotions are running rampant. He's basically supposed to be passion, the thing that holds them together, because as we've seen before, without Aaron, Mikasa goes completely fucking crazy.
Yeah. Kills everyone.
But yeah, we also get to see before Historia injects herself with the spinal fluid, she has this vision of Ymir, actually, who, as far as we know, is still MIA. And she basically said something to the, live a life you're proud of, to Historia in the past.
And then it goes on to, I don't know, probably the second coolest scene, because the fight scene was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just Historia just slapping the needle away, and just running up to Aaron saying, And Aaron's like, oh no, you have to kill me. I can't live anymore. You have to save everyone. And so Story is like, no, I'm going to be the enemy of humanity. I'm the worst girl in history. As she's freeing him. And he's like, no, you have to kill me. And she like smacks him in the head like, shut up!
You just shut up. It's just shut up and snap out of it, man. We need you. We need you. And then Rod decides, after he sees the needle smashed to the ground, oh!
Yeah, I guess I have to now. This is the only option. I have no more guinea pigs.
Yep. So he laps up some of the spinal fluid. He starts to turn into a Titan, and that's where the episode ends.
Which I don't know if that's like the same effect as injecting it. Either like because the episode cuts out as like his upper body kind of formed, and then his spine was just like bare. So I don't know if that was like just a half effect because he licked it up. Or if it was like, oh, let's just cut the episode off while he's mid-transformation.
I think that's more of what it does, because we've seen, like, incomplete transformations before. Like, in Season 1, we saw when Aaron wanted to stop the cannonball, he just summoned, like, the freaking Titan arm. It was all bony and shit. So I think that it was just, that's kind of how Titan transformations kind of do when we don't see them completely transform. So we're probably going to see next episode a showdown between Aaron and Race. Maybe Aaron will snap out of his survivor's guild for a fraction.
Yeah.
Or maybe Levi's squad will come in and save the day. But I don't know, because there are still a handful of Kenny's squad members left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're probably just gonna leave. I mean, I think Kenny wants to just leave anyways.
I don't imagine that Kenny's just going to leave quietly, though. He's probably going to have other plans.
Yeah, maybe he'll just want to fight Levi.
Maybe. That's what I see happening. A showdown between basically father and son, I guess, because that's what the relationship seems like to me. So, yeah, maybe we'll see that next episode. Alright. On to Banana Fish. Oh.
Yeah.
This episode was so freaking sad. You remember how last week I said Shorter was my favorite character? Yeah. I mean, I had a feeling something bad was going to happen to him too, and yeah, I wasn't wrong.
Yep.
Everything that could go wrong did go wrong this episode for Shorter.
It was worse than I expected to be. Like, I expected Shorter to die, but I thought he was going to die in like a blaze of glory.
Mm-hmm.
But he just ended up dying in a pathetic, whimpering state. Getting shot by his best friend.
Yeah. Just like him basically pleading to Ash whenever he did have his rare moments of lucidity, and it only seemed to apply when Ash was involved. Mm-hmm. Was I can't do this anymore. I'm in so much pain. Just set me free is what he was asking.
Which I think they really emphasized how powerful a drug Banana Fish is.
Yeah.
Like when they injected it into him. I think it took like a few seconds.
Yeah, before...
And then he immediately went into like a fugue state.
Yeah. And then Abraham Dawson, that's the red-haired dude with the glasses, who, we'll get to him in a little bit. I've got choice words to say about him, but he basically says, this is the source of all your fears, like showing Eiji to his face. And then, of course, he starts freaking out. It's just... We cannot, like, he starts screaming, trying to struggle while he's in, like, strapped down, just, oh, God.
Yeah, because the drug is, like, 100%, was it, like, drug-based suggestion or something
like
that?
Yeah, drug-induced hypnosis.
Yeah, and essentially he's just saying, like, this is what you're the most afraid of, this is your enemy, and he shoves Eiji in his face, and then he's just like, his brain's like, well, I guess it is.
Yeah, because... Oh God, I can't imagine. So before we go into that whole torture, we get to see a little bit of just once again how much of a fucking dick Golzine is. For starters, I want to say that Arthur and Ash both clean up pretty nice.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because we got to see them both in suits and with slicked hair and stuff, and Ash shows up and he's got like a jade earring and shit like that.
Like a $15,000 set of earrings.
Oh God, it was insane. And Golzine referring to him as basically just high-end merchandise, just, ugh, God.
Yeah. He was Golzine's top-selling product.
Yep. And I actually find it interesting that where the earring was, because, or the fact that he gave him an earring at all, because think about it for a second. What happens when when somebody's like breeding cows or something like that? They usually put something in their ear to mark it that's their property. They used to brand them, but they usually have like little clips in their ears now. So I imagine, once again, that's just kind of cementing the whole, yep, Ash is just basically a piece of meat or a product for me to sell.
That's an interesting little point.
Yeah, I thought so too. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but that's the way I see it, and it's probably a little clever detail. But we also get to see, thankfully, nothing really bad happened to AG this episode.
Yeah.
Something almost did, though, which thank God it didn't.
We got to see a little bit of humanity from Yetlung, which I'm not sure if that's like a code name or his actual name at this point. I was wondering about that.
I think so.
But yeah, he was having sex, or they didn't show it, but it was like the aftermath of him having sex with Golzine.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time, at least I'm assuming based on the context of what they were talking about afterwards, Yetlung was kind of keeping Golzine's attention.
Yeah.
Keeping him off of AG.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit more humiliating.
Actually, he said something like, "We were about to have so much fun." So I don't know if they were about to start, or if they had done anything at that point, or if they. We were about to. I think.
Yeah, I think that. I still think that Yetlung's intention was to try and keep attention on himself instead of AG.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which, again, thankfully, nothing bad happened to AG.
Yeah, because it didn't show it. But based on the fact that he didn't have a "I just got raped" face,
yeah,
I'm assuming that probably.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was like ridiculously traumatized. Yeah. So
he certainly was in the next part, though.
Oh God,
where he just basically Abraham brought in Shorter, drugged up Shorter, just sicked him on AG with a knife.
And then also throws AG a knife, say, "Hey, if you want to survive, then you're going to have to fight and kill him." Which, again, I said I was going to have some choice words about Abraham Dawson. Here goes. Fuck Dawson. I cannot honestly stress that enough, how much I actually hate this character. His motivations are just such the biggest fucking...
Yeah. It was like, I made banana fish because people called me a nerd.
Yeah, people are... Exactly. He's like that kid who gets bullied in high school and then decides to go shoot up his school, pretty much. Yeah. But I cannot... It was... And then he was trying to say it was justified revenge because they were basically bullying me. That's why I used them as lab rats. And here's the thing. I find it interesting that Abraham is the manufacturer of banana fish, and because basically what that is complete and total mental control over somebody, and it's sort of an interesting parallel between him and Golzine. Golzine has a bunch of other types of control over people, like financial control, physical control, pretty much any other types of control over people. But Abraham Dawson has complete and total mental and psychological control over people, and to me, I think that's scarier because he's able to basically just with a simple injection make somebody do whatever he wants.
I wonder if they're going to try and inject Golzine with banana fish. Set of revenge.
That would be awesome. And Ash was basically trying to say, hey, if I ever get out of this, I'm going to kill you. It's going to be my justified revenge.
Justifiable revenge.
I am so looking forward to that eventually.
I actually think injecting Abraham with it would be perfect revenge.
Absolutely.
Inject Abraham with it and then tell him that Golzine is his enemy.
Oh, man.
Throw them in a room together.
That would be perfect. Of course, we probably know who'd win that fight, Golzine, but...
I don't know. Have we ever seen that Golzine could fight?
I imagine he has to. He doesn't look like much of a pushover. He's a pretty big, intimidating man.
Maybe.
But
also, banana fish makes you crazy. So.
Yeah, so we get that psycho strength.
Yeah.
But then, just all the villains in this show are just horrifying. Abraham Dawson is probably, I think, the worst of them. He's worse than Golzine. I stand by that statement, just because I cannot stand him. I absolutely hate him.
I'd rank Golzine higher still on list of shitty people.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because of all the underage boy rape.
Yeah.
But, so that whole... whole fight between AG, quote unquote fight between AG and Shorter, culminates just to like the saddest moment of this season.
Yeah.
It hit me so hard when you see Ash just screaming like, "Stop! Stop! Please!"
Yeah.
As Shorter's about to plunge a knife into AG, and then Ash is...
Arthur throws him a gun, says, "Remember, you have just one bullet."
Yeah, and he flicks the chains so they're loose enough, and then Ash immediately jumps for the gun, and then, like, without hesitation, just shoots Shorter right in the heart.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man. They're like...
I mean...
They're best friends.
Yeah, literally shooting him in the heart. Like, that was basically... And the craziest little detail is we actually see the bullet go through his heart.
That was a nice little touch.
Yeah, just... Oh,
see
God.
it come right out the other side.
Yeah, and then, like, blood drips on AG's face, and then Shorter just falls. And he dies, like, instantly. And...
Because we need Ash to be more upset.
Yeah.
That's what everybody needs.
Yeah.
Because he had Banana Fish take away the life of his brother.
And now his best friend.
Yeah. So, I really hope that Ash gets his revenge.
Yup, I cannot... it might come sooner than we think. Because, we get to see Ash's gang, or at least the remnants of it.
Oh, yeah!
Yes!
Yeah. Ash and Shorter's gang team up, and they said they're going to go back and help him.
Yeah, it's, "Do you want to start a gang war with us?" And they're like, "Wait, what?"
Start a gang war?
And it's like, you're going against your own people. You're going up against your bosses. And they say, and the de facto boss, like the one that's acting in Shorter's in Shorter's absence, says, "In our eyes, Shorter's the one true boss here." Mm-hmm. Which, oh God, that's going to be horrible to watch. Because once they realize that Shorter's dead, I'm thinking they're just going to say, "Fuck this." Also, the last scene, I think, that just kind of added to the heartbreak in this episode was when after Shorter gets shot in the heart, everybody's crying, and then Dawson looks at him and goes, "Oh, thank God, his brain is still intact. He didn't shoot him in the brain. Do you want to see how it affects the brain cells?" And so they start carrying him away and looking like they're probably going to dissect him and start figuring out how his brain matter had been altered by the drug. So, and then Ash is just screaming, "Get your hands off of him!" Just this whole time, just compounding the sadness this episode.
Yeah, just such a trip, such a feels trip.
Oh God, this episode.
But yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah. On to happier things.
Next up, we're talking about Chio School Road. We got to see the return of the creepy pedo.
Yeah, creepy hobo master is back.
Pedo hobo.
Yep. Which, it just starts off with Chio being late to school again.
Or no, she's not late to school.
No, I take that back.
She didn't study.
Yeah, she didn't study, so she decides, I'm gonna go pray to God. He'll give me... I gave him a whole $1. Surely he'll pray
$1. Because just... Chio's gonna study, but then games happen, and she's playing games all night.
Yeah. Because she wanted to look up something on the internet, but then she started looking at but then she started playing games, and her mom got pissed.
Yeah.
She
just went to bed. Like, I went to bed because I was mad.
I went to bed sulking. Mm-hmm. Which, I want to point out something. Like, they were, the whole thing was the creepy hobo master decided, women shouldn't focus on their academic studies, so don't worry. They should focus on their physical attributes.
The most misogynistic mindset.
Right?
It's like, even in my old company, women were never hired for their academics. They were hired for their looks.
So we should just focus on that instead. And so they decide to basically make Chio look like Marilyn Monroe.
Like a creepy doll version of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, because they give her a blonde wig, they cut it up a little bit, make it really short and kind of curly, again like Marilyn Monroe. And then after I don't remember his name, so I'm just going to keep referring to him as Creepy Hobo Master.
Wasn't it like Matt or something with 2 A's?
Yeah.
That's what his hat said, I guess.
I don't know. But, and then Monada decides, okay, you did the hair, I'll do the makeup. So she does the Mana.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of
Mana. JoJo's reference.
There were actually a couple of those this week apparently, but more on that later. So she does that, and then her face is, like, totally just screwed up, like, with all the makeup. It doesn't look real.
No, it just looks like a doll.
Yeah. And, then they decide, okay, let's scratch this, and let's give her a geisha wig instead.
Oh yeah, they just took off all the makeup and slapped a geisha wig on her. And then Chio just does, like, the best animated pole dance I've ever seen.
And which apparently she learned by watching it in a video game. Yeah. But totally not Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. And she just apparently just got bored and watched it for a few hours and committed it to memory, so that's what she did. I haven't seen that good of animated pole dancing since Panty and Stocking.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But in the course of that, her wig flies off, she takes a look at her face in the mirror, and it's like, wait, this is my same hair. And then they basically say some inspirational bullshit. It's like, don't you see the sexy version of you is just the you when you're below average? Mm-hmm. And it's like, this was a complete waste of time!
Way to summarize just the show.
This was a complete waste of time.
Every episode is a waste of time because it's just that kind of show.
Also, but it's funny that everybody, like, they were going through such big effort to try and change her appearance and stuff like that, because I honestly think that when she has her hair, like, tied up in a ponytail, like we see her at her gaming desk, she actually looks really cute there.
Yeah, she looks a lot different.
When she's actually just in her element and in her gaming mode. Yeah. I think she should just keep her hair up. Like, that's all she really needs to do.
Yeah, change her. I mean, it's not going to help her grades.
No, it's not, but... It's not going to help her grades, but as Creepy Hobo Master said, that doesn't matter. Yeah. It's only looks that matter.
So the next skit was another return of Ando.
Yep, Ando's back, and
it's confirmed that Ando likes Chio.
Yep.
Exactly what I said last time he showed up.
Yep, Ando does in fact like Chio and is doing a bunch of stuff to try and impress her. Like, he's getting ready to smoke. He's getting ready to smoke a cigarette, which, as we already know, Chio thinks that guys smoking cigarettes are really cool. But then he's like, oh wait, that's right, I quit. I'll pull out the cigar instead.
Which, I don't like smoking, but boy, do cigars look classy.
Yeah, they do. They look classy.
Like, whenever I see someone smoking, or whenever I think of a cigar, I think of, like, a mob boss or something.
I mean, it can go one of two ways. Either it can look really classy or really just shifty and shady and, oh my god, you're just a pig sort of deal. I guess it depends. Like, if it's like a kind of well-kept mob boss, then yeah, it looks really cool and really epic. But if it's sort of like some kind of fat, short son of a bitch and it's just smoking a cigar, it just totally looks different. But anyway, so Ando starts smoking a cigar. He tries to show off how good he's gotten at his throwing papers job. Oh
yeah, that's a super epic move.
Yeah. And then, lastly, he tries to replicate a BL game pose. The foot stomp.
Oh, you're so misguided.
Oh, God. Just because he thought that Chio liked BL.
Which she doesn't. She just likes the dirty images of the grizzled old men.
Exactly. And he managed to get one of his former subordinates in on it.
Yeah.
And... as they're just staring at him, which was one of the funniest freaking reaction shots, like, just their faces, I was like, what is even going on right now?
Yeah, and then they're just like, alright, let's just go walk the opposite way now.
And as he's holding his leg up, he's like, please recognize this soon, yeah. This is really weird.
Which his subordinate is apparently super gay.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
What? But the funniest part is that later, two other girls show up, and they do recognize it.
Yeah, it's from that thing!
Yeah. Oh my god. And then, Chio has this little crisis of, I thought Ando maybe liked me, but he was hanging out with his boyfriend there, so there's no way anybody could ever fall for me. Monana decides to try and cheer her up. It's like, that's not true.
They're friends!
They're friends! Oh my god.
I still want to know Ando's exact age.
I'm pretty sure he's just one of those cases where he's older than he looks.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's like early 20s probably.
I'm thinking that he's probably like maybe late teens.
You think so?
I think so. Like, again, he could be early 20s, maybe late teens.
I think we talked about this before. But yeah, he was in a gang, and gangs tend to be, street gang people tend to be younger, so.
Yeah, I mean, he looked maybe a high school dropout that just got into a gang. So, whatever. Also, we did get to see the return of George the cat, who screamed like a human being.
She walked up to him and he's just like, ah!
And I actually had to turn and confirm, it's like, did he just scream like a person? It's like, yup. Alright, so, we got to see more of Hanebado this week, and it's been building up to exactly what I was wanting to see. A final showdown between Connie and Hanasaki again.
Well, that wasn't the official showdown. But yeah, the match they were playing in round 2. Yeah, totally not round 1.
Yeah, there's an arcade that exists. For you guys who don't know, there's an arcade called Round 1.
It's an arcade chain.
Yeah, it's really cool, actually. Been there a couple times. A lot of fun. But we see her show up, and she's like standing above these like rafters or whatever, and then Hanasaki basically does like a few like kind of gestures with her hands, which somebody had compared them. It's exactly what Polnareff did in JoJo's when he saw some girl's underwear. So it was a very clear.
Wait, what?
So when Hanasaki sees Connie's underwear from like below the rafters, she like gives a couple hand gestures, like trying to indicate that. Somebody had compared it. Apparently, they were exactly the same gestures that Polnareff did in JoJo when he saw a girl's underwear.
Oh man!
Again, when I said there were multiple JoJo references this week, I was not kidding.
Gotcha.
It was that was pretty funny, my immediate response to that is like, well, that's what you get for wearing a short skirt, not having spatial awareness. Yep. But we get to see probably one of the creepiest goddamn mascots I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh god, yeah, that like
Wei. What the fuck?
Was it a whale?
I think it was supposed to be a whale shark, I think is what it was supposed to be.
And it had like these I'm high, I'm uncomfortable with what's happening over to my right kind of face going on. He was just like, I
was like, oh shit.
But this whole episode, it just had Hanasaki, Connie, and Shiwahime.
Yeah.
Just hanging out at round 2, going around doing fun things. And this whole time, Hanasaki...
And Elena. Elena was also...
and Elena, yeah.
Yeah.
Hanasaki had, this smile on. Just watching it the whole time, I was like, that's fake. That's so fake.
I want to point out as well, is that before Connie showed up, the weird thing is that Hanasaki had, this weird, almost too childish... it was like a 10-year-old basically walking around because she got super upset when her Wei thing got broken off her bag, and I got the impression it's like, okay, maybe that's just a stage of Arrested Development sort of deal because that's what she's kind of regressed to at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and the way they describe Wei is what a novel design. Novel, yeah, sure, that's novel. It freaks me the fuck out, but.
Yeah, the whole thing with Hanasaki is that she was being happy and cheerful to pretty much everyone else.
Yeah,
and then Connie or Hanasaki. So Connie goes up to her and she's like, "I want us to be family.
I want me and Mama to be family again."
Which after seeing that and because we also got a flashback of Connie's childhood, which I'm assuming she was probably an orphan.
Yeah.
And then Connie got taken in by Hanasaki's mom. Uchika.
Yeah.
And, I'm starting to feel a lot more for Connie. Because earlier on, I made the comment of saying I didn't like how they gave Connie a little redeeming moment after she was an asshole to...
Hanasaki the whole time.
No, she was an asshole to Mini Aragaki.
Okay.
The other girl, I don't remember her name is. Mm-hmm. When she was like, well, if you play, then I'm not playing. I'm only playing by myself. And then they gave her kind of a redeeming moment after that, and I was like, I thought that was kind of dumb.
And then they immediately say it's like, she's my mama now, pretty much.
Yeah, but after seeing this, I kind of get it. It makes a lot more sense that she was lashing out.
Yeah.
She wants Hanasaki to be, or I guess Ayano, because Hanasaki is both her mom's last name.
Yeah.
She wants Ayano to be a member of their family, but she was also kind of upset that Ayano was the way she was, and it's kind of a little bit of back and forth going on.
Yeah.
But Connie really genuinely wants Ayano to be a part of their family now.
Yeah, because she wants just her big sister.
Yeah.
Which we get to see a little bit of Uchika describing her, which she never gives any direct, like, compliments or anything about her daughter. Almost treats her like sort of like a stranger. Like, she doesn't even, not one of the first things she said. It was one of the last things she said, like, oh, by the way, she's my daughter. Kind of like it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Which,
and it was so casual. Like, there was no malice behind it or anything. It's just,
Yeah.
It's hard to get a read on Uchika.
Yeah, I don't really like Uchika at this point in time. I think she's kind of a monster. Like, she's pretty neglectful.
Yeah, pretty bad parent.
Yeah, she's neglectful at the very least. But, I don't know. We get to see a little bit of the two of them, like, hanging out. Somebody wins a Weiwei backpack and gives it to Hanasaki because she really likes Weiwei.
Shiwahime, yeah.
Yeah.
She won that.
And then, and it reminded me, like, just the size of the backpack and how it fit on her back. It reminded me a lot of Hachikuji from Monogatari, actually, with her big-ass backpack. But, it basically devolves into a badminton match between Hanasaki and...
immediately after Connie saying, I want us to be family, Hanasaki smiles, grabs her hand, and says, I want to take you somewhere.
Yeah.
Brings her to a badminton court, and then proceeds to utterly demolish her with her deadpan, emotionless face.
Yeah. Like, in her creepy-ass smile.
Yeah, and she says, like, I don't want us to be...
We could never be family. Because I'm the one abandoning Mom this time.
Which, like, I don't like what Hanasaki's doing, but at the same time, I understand the motives behind it.
Yeah.
Because her mom...
abandoned her.
Yeah. So she was pretty friendly with Connie up until the point where Connie said, Mama doesn't need you anymore.
Yeah.
And then at that point, as soon as, like... Ayano was on her way to recovery. Because, like, with the whole park scene where she was playing badminton with everybody and having fun.
Yeah.
And then Connie shows up and says that. And then Ayano, she just snaps.
Yeah.
Immediately after that, she's just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much. And she's just gotten more and more cold as the season has progressed. We also get a little subplot of, like, of a couple teammates who are going to be moving on and stuff like that, which I really wasn't all that invested in. I don't even think the show was for that matter.
Yeah, they like showed a little bit of I don't remember her name, light brown hair.
Yeah,
light brown hair girl who likes corn dogs.
Yeah, who likes corn dogs.
It showed her like crushing on the guy a little bit. But it's like, that's
we haven't really gotten attached to her character.
Yeah, they haven't given me any reason to care, really.
Yeah. She hasn't gotten any, like, major spotlight moments or anything like that. But we also did get to see Aragaki, like, practicing, like, a ridiculous amount. I think, like, even to the point where her friend is trying to tell her, no, you should stop this or you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, they even, like, zoomed in, the camera work, like, zoomed in on her knees a little bit.
Yeah.
I was thinking she might end up hurting herself too much before her next game.
Yeah, but then she basically says something to the effect of, nope, I've got to prepare myself as much as possible if I'm going to be going up against Hanasaki, pretty much.
Yeah, and then the episode ended with Ayano going home.
Mama!
Yeah, and then your mom.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, hey, welcome home. And then, that's the answer. The episode cuts off. I hope that what I want this story to end up being a Kill la Kill-esque story. And by that I mean, like, both the sisters end up making up, and they end up just getting away from the mom.
Yeah, because the mom's a toxic person.
I really, really hope they don't try redeeming Uchika.
Yeah, I brought this up before. Like, one of the biggest problems I think in Your Lie in April is they try to completely absolve Kosei's mom, which she didn't deserve to be completely absolved. Like, it was all for his own good in the end, so...
it would have been fine.
She beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, it would have been fine if he got over it. Like,
and if he recognized, like,
I understand.
I can kind of understand. I'm not angry at you anymore, but I don't forget. I'll never forget what you did. Like... I mean, yeah, don't completely absolve her and then try to paint her as some kind of saint who was always looking out for him the whole time.
Yeah, so I really don't want Uchika to just be like, well, I did it for your own good. Like, if she says that in maybe like a panic way, like, like, how could you do this to me? I did this all for your own good. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's fine, but I really don't want her to maybe like play sad music in the background, have her cry, maybe some glowing effects in the background.
It's like, it's okay, I forgive you.
Yeah, I forgive you, Mom.
Alright, I kind of hope they do more of a Katura-san approach. Have you ever seen Katura-san?
No.
Okay, so they basically do a...
Wait, is that the one with the
psychic girl?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
Okay, so without going into too much of spoilers, her mom abandons her in the first... This is all in the first episode, and quite possibly the most depressing 12 minutes in anime, where it's just sad shit happening constantly. But her mom returns, and her mom, after abandoning her, does return later, and they do redeem her in a way that feels natural. Like, they don't try to, paint her off as being a completely good person or anything like that. A person who's made some terrible mistakes, but anyway.
So, you're talking about the 12 most sad minutes in anime.
Yeah.
Magical Girl Sight. That was the saddest first episode of that. Just the saddest episode I've ever seen.
Well, I was crying, but crying with laughter more than anything because of how hilarious that shit was.
Yeah, back to Hanebado.
But, that was pretty much all that happened in Hanebado this week.
I want to see the next the official match between Connie and Hanasaki,
and then Aragaki and Hanasaki as well.
Do they play each other?
I imagine so.
They're in the same school.
I mean, I imagine that's what's going to happen. They're probably going to be in the finals.
I mean, that would be awesome. I would love seeing that.
It'd be cool because maybe Aragaki... I think it's got to be Aragaki who's going to be the one to cut her down to size again.
Yeah.
I imagine, though...
Or Connie could.
Yeah, maybe. I also imagine that the next episode we're going to see Aino probably freak out at her mom because how dare you show up again?
They're going to start the episode with that.
Yeah.
So, next up, we're talking about Happy Sugar Life. Another character death.
Another episode where I just feel dead inside after watching it.
I love the dynamic in the show, how it's shifting from... In the beginning, Sato was the protagonist, with her trying to be happy with Chio, and then slowly over the course of the episode... Well, okay, and they revealed Asahi, and Asahi was the quote-unquote antagonist.
Yeah.
Trying to take that away from her. And the show's been kind of putting more weights and shifting the balance, where slowly Sato's becoming the antagonist and now Asahi is becoming the protagonist.
Yeah, that is a really cool dynamic, and I agree with you 100%. I legitimately do think that Asahi might be the only decent person in this world so far.
They revealed
her and Shoko. I mean, him and Shoko.
Yeah, they revealed Asahi's... I think they revealed Asahi's flaw.
Yeah.
In this episode, which was... He was like, the only happiness I can ever find is if I get my mom and my sister back together again.
Yeah.
I can't be happy like anyone else.
Yeah, because his life has been so... But it's an understandable one because his life has been so shitty up to this point.
Yeah, and Shoko's flaw was she can sometimes overlook personality traits just because the guy's hot.
Yeah.
That was not nearly as bad as anyone else's flaws anyways.
I mean, yeah.
It was just kind of a teenage girl thing.
Yeah, it was just... It was a teenage girl thing. So we finally get to... we get a little bit of a lead up from the clue that was brought up at the end of the last episode from Mitsuboshi. It has been officially confirmed it was Mitsuboshi who did call him, of course. They meet up in the park. He basically tries to tell her that he thinks that Chio was lured away by somebody and taken to another town. Maybe you should go there. And at first, Asahi wants to believe him, but then
gives him a tie. Chio's tie.
And then in a stunning bit of deductive reasoning, he realizes, wait a second, how does he know my name? We've never met before. He doesn't know who really I am. How did he know it was me right off the get-go? And so he's like, wait, you're lying to me, just like every other adult.
You smell like a lying adult.
Yeah. And then we tap a little bit into Mitsuboshi's trauma. God, that's unpleasant to look at. Just how it's just that faceless lady just looking like...
He's like, I'm nothing like her, and he tackles Asahi.
Yeah, and...
in the middle of the street, because he's showing the background, people like, ugh.
Yeah, and nobody really does anything. Nobody says, hey, call somebody, tries to break them up. Eventually, the two of them break up. They break away from each other, then Asahi runs, and in a panic, but then after he cools down a little bit, again, kind of displaying that Asahi's actually a decent person and actually relatively smart, he's like, wait a minute, what am I doing? That guy was my clue to where Chio is. But, I don't know. And then him and Shoko have a nice little endearing moment in the park. That's where we realize the whole, this is the only happiness I've ever known.
Yeah, and we get to see Shoko's first, or at least from what we've seen, it's Shoko's first, like, attraction that's not superficial.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, you're totally not my type, and you're kind of scrawny and wimpy, but I want you to be my prince.
Yeah.
And she kisses him, and they have, like, a nice little romantic moment.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a kind of sweet moment. Because
it was kind of showing Shoko getting over her problems a little bit, and then and she was helping Asi get over his problem. Because she was like, well, maybe you should find happiness yourself first.
Yeah.
And then Asi freaks out, and she immediately says, like, that was horrible of me to say that.
Yep. And then we see him, I think, getting on the train to the next station, and Sato is stalking him, saying, I knew he'd take the first train. I need to eliminate all risks, and goes through like a list of people like liars, people who are in my way, etc., and just like flashing through all the different people that have stood in her way up to this point. And then it shows Shoko, which she has nothing to say about, but still she sees her as a risk, which makes me actually kind of uncomfortable.
But then like Sato, like, thinks of Chio as she's walking along thinking about that. And then, sparkles everywhere and happy music.
Today's our anniversary.
Yeah. So she goes out and buys a cake, brings it back. They have a happy little moment. And then they're getting along and everything. She goes off, buys a ring. So they're like, we should get married. Let's actually get married. Yeah. Which, Sato, take a seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just Chris Hansen, take a seat.
Yeah,
just take a seat right there.
Yeah.
Because, that's actually pedophilia.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're not getting legally married, but still. Yeah, but
it's all to her, it's just like this wonderland kind of thing. I understand there's nothing sexual.
And even Chio, that's just still childlike innocence saying, it's like, yeah, let's do that. I'm a kid. Like, what kid never pretended that, or what little girl never pretended to get married someday?
Yeah.
So, but then they make the mistake of stepping outside.
Well, no, Chio tackles her to hug her.
Yeah.
And pushes her outside.
And they're all laughing and happy, and then click.
Yeah, Shoko takes a picture, which was like, as soon as she took that picture, I was like, she did.
Yeah, it's like this ship be fucked.
Yeah. And then they go to the next scene, which I think was a really cool way of directing it.
Yeah. Because
they show all the arguing happening, but they have music playing in the background. I think it was partly to represent Chio, because Chio runs into the room, covers her ears.
Yeah.
And so she's trying not to hear anything.
Yeah.
And then they show the camera jumping back and forth between Sato and Shoko, just arguing about this whole situation.
Yeah, and of course, Shoko like getting really impassioned and into it, but then Sato just staring at her back with these cold, dead eyes.
By the end of the conversation, actually, Sato has normal eyes again.
Yeah.
And I think Sato was actually going through a genuine thought process of, well, I really don't want to kill Shoko, but I might have to. Mm-hmm. And then we get to this scene where, just from the camera work, I could tell alone, it's like, Sato's going to come and stab her in the back. Because they show a side profile view of Shoko just sitting there and thinking, like, inspirational, like, I'm gonna save Sato. I'm gonna bring her back from this situation.
Yeah.
Only I can do it. And she has, like, this inspirational moment. And then you just hear, like, a and then Sato's head slowly peeks over her shoulder.
Yeah. It's like, did you really think I wouldn't believe that you wouldn't tell the police?
Oh, no, she doesn't stab her in the back. She grabs her mouth.
Yeah, and then holds a knife to her throat.
Yeah.
And... oh my god! But we get to we also get to see like Shoko like struggling desperately, like clawing at stuff.
Yeah, that was such a brutally intimate death scene.
Yeah,
because you see her it was like, it's so real. She's holding her hand over her mouth, and she just like stabs the knife into her neck. She doesn't like slash it up dramatically or anything, just enough to puncture her
one of her arteries.
Yeah, and then Shoko was just clawing and scratching, kicking, and trying to scream and get away from it. Mm-hmm. And then you just see slowly the life drain from her face.
Yeah.
And she stops moving.
And then just her lifeless body there, which It's interesting that you brought up the like the music playing and stuff, because that's actually I actually didn't consider that, like Chio just kind of covering her ears and that's what she was imagining. Like I knew that I hadn't considered that the music was probably just her point of view, because we also hear I'm pretty sure it was Shoko narrating over this little story of this little pretty bird that just wouldn't give up. Obviously,
like a fairy tale.
Yeah, obviously she was referring to Asahi when she was thinking.
Yeah, it was like a little allegory.
Yeah,
background.
But and then I was thinking to myself the whole time. It's like, oh my god, I hope that Asahi was able to get it. I hope she was able to send the message. And sure enough, thank God she did. Like Shoko was able to send the message to Asahi, and I think as he was in another town, another prefecture, hanging up posters, he got the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it shows him up his phone. He sees the picture of Sato and Chio together.
Oh God, So yeah, it's all starting to fall apart now.
I think that because Sato's gonna have to hide that.
Mm-hmm.
Which the guy she killed before, I think he didn't have any connections.
Mm-hmm.
Shoko obviously has a family that's gonna want to know where she's at.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I want to point out there was a scene at the end where after she kills Shoko, she just walks into Shio's room.
Yeah.
Shio's sleeping. And she's just got her underwear on. She's got blood all over herself. And she's looking at Chio with these deadpan eyes. And
then Chio looks at Sato's hand and sees that it's all scratched and bleeding. And she's just like, Sato?
I think that this might lead to Sato... I don't know if doing anything sexual... But she's gonna need the sweetness, the quote unquote sweetness.
Yeah.
Because that was such a shitty situation for her that she's gonna need to, she's gonna need Chio, and I'm worried that that's gonna.
I think in the next episode, because we've already established that that Chio is afraid of the color red, because blood. Yeah. She probably saw that quite a bit when she was. She
has PTSD.
Yeah, and so I imagine she's going to see that blood and start freaking out. But it's also interesting to note that she kind of just knew what to do, when she went into the other room and covered her ears.
Well, yeah, she's used to domestic violence.
I mean, sure, I get that, but it was still interesting to see it happen. Just how kind of casually she did it, it was almost second nature to her. It was still sad to see, I guess.
Yeah, because so many times in the flashback we saw that it was apparently a common occurrence for the dad to beat the mom all the time.
Yeah.
So whenever that happens, Chio probably just goes off into her own world and tries to imagine different things, cover her ears.
Yeah.
It's almost like a self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, which we know that Chio has some post-traumatic stress, but usually she hides it so well is the thing, which...
I think Sato enables that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Sato's well, you did something bad, but who cares?
Exactly.
We're all happy. Whenever I'm around, we're happy. Everything's good.
Oh my god. Yeah, this episode was a feels trip. I hope Asahi... I don't see anything good coming out of this story, though. I don't think Asahi's going to succeed. I think that Sato and Chio are going to die together.
Yeah.
Based
on what I've seen so far, I wouldn't be surprised.
Especially since that's what we saw at least from the first clip of the show.
They were on a burning building or something.
Yeah, they were on top of the burning roof, or the burning apartment building. Which I wonder who started that fire.
Doesn't Chio tackle her off or something?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, I wonder if it's going to be a situation of Sato's going to kill Asahi, and then Chio kills Sato to save Asahi.
Maybe.
Which that would just destroy Asahi.
Yeah, because the whole thing about Asahi is he's trying to prevent... That's the other thing. Asahi is trying to prevent Chio from becoming like him. Because he recognizes how broken he is, and he thinks that Chio can still be saved. He's trying to... And he's taking that on himself to try and save her. He thinks he can, but I think it might be too late. The last thing, we get to see Sato's aunt again.
Oh yeah, with the police cap. I was well, she fucked the policeman.
Yeah, she has his hat. Do you think they actually screwed?
Oh yeah. I can almost guess exactly what happened. The police guy went home, thought about it more, might even have a family.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, oh man, maybe I do want this. So
yeah.
he went back to Sato's aunt's place, They fucked. He forgot his hat or left his hat.
See, I thought that he just left. I thought that he just left it there from the last time he was over. But
maybe
that's what I thought. See, that's a little bit more in depth than I was thinking. But
yeah, based on like the reaction that the cop had, like he was blushing and like he almost seemed like he wanted it.
Yeah.
Before the female cop kind of pushed him away.
Yeah.
But that's enough of
crappy sugar life.
Crappy sugar life, yeah. Next up, we're talking about Hero Academia.
All right,
we gotta get back to the plot.
Back to the plot.
Advertising episode.
Yeah. And one of the first things they acknowledge this episode is once again how important All Might was to this world, like just how important the symbol of peace was, and their justification for like these kind of expedited hero exam or provisional license exam was, rather than waiting for the next All Might, we need to fill that gap with as many heroes as possible, with an army of heroes.
Well, they want to fill it specifically with heroes that can coordinate and work together.
Exactly.
So instead of building one super soldier, they're just going to build tons of soldiers that can work together.
Yeah, exactly. Just
to become that one super soldier.
Exactly. Which is really cool. I thought that was a really cool little bit, and
it's a smarter plan, honestly.
Exactly.
Instead of just waiting for something to happen, you kind of future-proof yourself.
Exactly.
Setting a better precedent, I think, for heroes to work together more.
Exactly. We get to see Gang Orca doing Orca things.
I like how they described his quirk. It was just like Orca something.
Can do
the
anything.
ability to do everything an Orca can, even on land.
Exactly. But I also think it was really cool as far as his design goes that his tie looked like a freaking tongue. Like it just kind of adds to that aesthetic of his because he's supposed to be a gangster. Yeah.
I like how his hero outfit is like a classy vest.
Yeah.
With a tie.
Yeah.
And some nice pants.
Yeah. He's supposed to be a gangster.
So we get a background of why Inasa doesn't like Todoroki. And it fits really well in the show because it's such a dramatic and important thing to Inasa, but looking at it as an outsider, you can easily think like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like he looked at you funny and said, get away from me.
Yeah, it was basically like, that hero rejected me getting an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, you're a nuisance, get out of my way. Which, again, from an outside perspective, I can totally see why some people might go, oh, that's a stupid reason. But on the other hand, you have to realize, A, what kind of person Inasa was, and the fact that he was a child.
Yeah.
So basically...
It put such a big impression on him.
Yeah, it put such a huge impression
on him. Like, imagine you have this big hero, like this big, maybe like an actor or something.
Yeah.
And you think he's really awesome.
Someone you look up to.
Yeah, and then you meet him and he just says, get out of my way, instead of like maybe saying hi or something. Like that would leave a big impression on you.
Yeah, especially for a young child. And with Todoroki, like the same kind of thing happened. Like when they were doing for like the recommendation exam, I think Inasa.
It was to like get in ahead of all the other
exactly. Because Todoroki, Yaoyorozu, and Inasa were all prospective candidates just to get in via recommendations. And Inasa actually started racing Todoroki. And he's like, wow, he's fast. I've got to try to keep up with him. Maybe it's like, he has similar eyes to that one guy, but maybe we can be friends.
Yeah, which was a little bit of... I mean, I like Inasa's character. Like,
yeah.
He was upset, but he tried to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And then immediately after... Todoroki's just says,
get out of my way.
I'm not trying to compete with you, I just need to pass this test. Stop bothering me, get out of my way.
Yeah.
And then that is just like, Inasa's like, well, I tried.
Yeah.
And then he just got pissed at him.
Yeah, and then a big part of the whole exam was just the two of them trying to subdue Gang Orca and failing because they can't
knock each other's tacks out of the way.
Yeah. Like, the fire makes the wind rise, damn it! And then
Gang Orca beats them, uses a sound on both of them, knocks them out.
Yeah.
And then they had a really cool scene of they had this really they almost hit Earthquake guy.
Yeah, Shindo, I believe.
Shindo.
Yeah.
They almost hit him. Midoriya jumps in, inserting his Midoriya common sense in the situation. Like,
what are you doing?
Why? This is a test. Why are you being so stupid?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't say that, but basically, that's what they got the message as. And they had this moment of, well, we caused this problem. We have to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And they both individually thought, I have to fix it. And they kind of just, like, looked at each other and had this moment of understanding that wind makes the heat rise.
Mm-hmm.
So they both shoot their quirks at each other. And it creates, like, this fire tornado trapping Gang Orca.
Yeah. And since he's an orca, it's drawing him out in the process. And so that actually weakens him. And so when they dispel the fire, you see Deku run in and just punch him.
He kicks him.
Oh, that's right.
He kicks his arm and like the arm guard shatters. Or
Yeah.
I think it was like a restraint.
Yeah. And then the test concludes at that.
I liked Gang Orca's statement of, this doesn't erase their previous idiocy, but it is a good attempt at redeeming themselves.
Exactly. And they pointed out here as well that if any of the students go below a certain threshold in their test, then they automatically fail, is what they were saying. And judging from their performance, it seems like Inasa and Todoroki would both fail, but it might they might just barely fail.
Yeah, I like how they show, like, here's the results. And now look at them and see who won.
It's organized alphabetically, or pretty much alphabetically, syllabically, I guess is what they said. And he's just like Midoriya.
And the episode cuts off.
Yeah, and you see him kind of grimace, and then it cuts off. It's like, see you next week.
Yeah, I just like, thanks for this stereotypical cliffhanger.
It's like, but apparently we actually watched past the credits into the next episode preview. We are finally getting a fight between Bakugo and Deku.
Oh, yes. As a manga reader, I've been waiting for this the whole season.
I've heard about this fight. I've heard that it's going to be awesome because the general idea of it's going to be, we both have issues. The only way we're going to be able to work this out is if we fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
We need to beat the shit out of each other to finally understand each other. Typical shonen bullshit.
Yeah, I'm crazy excited for the next episode.
Yeah. Oh, God, this show has been so good. It hasn't disappointed me yet. But a show that has disappointed me and
I feel like that's how we segue into Holmes of Kyoto for like the past 3 weeks. It's just like, oh, I bet that last show was good, but boy, this one isn't.
But, I mean, I don't care if it's getting repetitive. So is the show, quite frankly. So it's kind of
fitting. The show freaking starts with a time skip. Last week we were talking about how, oh man, I sure wish they would have showed what happened instead of time skipped and then explained what happened. And at the beginning of this episode, they're like, boy, this year sure has gone by fast. It's already like winter vacation or whatever.
It's like,
whatever it was.
Wow, really? It's like, this is how we're starting.
It's already almost New Year's. That sure went by fast. And I freely thought, I was like, yeah, sure did.
Yeah, sure did. Not that I would know that. Not that I would know that without you telling me. But, oh my God, this episode. I'm going to be totally honest. I have not been really invested in this show.
Me neither. I mean, I've been invested in the way that I can't wait to see what stupid shit happens next.
Yeah, pretty much. But as far as general stuff that's been happening, I really don't care anymore.
Yeah. So this episode, we get the owner is like, treasure hunt party or whatever, New Year's party, and we're gonna have a treasure hunt.
We're having another freaking contest.
Yeah. So they put in like the treasure contest. Like they put in a cool. The riddle was kind of cool.
Yeah.
After I saw the result of it, I was like, that makes sense.
Okay. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And it also revealed Enjo's intelligence, which again was really cool. It's like the two of them.
Enjo randomly pops up, and I was thinking, shouldn't he be in jail right now? I was like, wait, I don't think he's actually done anything illegal. But maybe like trying to sell reproductions or counterfeits. Or
I don't know.
Kind of illegal.
But yeah, that's a good question. It's like, how are you not in jail? But whatever, fine.
Yeah, they need to really. So I had the thought that they really need to decide whether they want to make Ensho this grandiose villain or just a normal dude.
Yeah,
because he kind of just like showed up.
Yeah, he just kind of flip flops between the two of them. Like, I haven't read a lot of the Sherlock Holmes books, especially the ones where Moriarty starts showing up. But Moriarty's like a criminal mastermind who he's a professor and he's like well respected and stuff like that as far as I know, but he's also a criminal mastermind who has like an entire organization of people doing shit for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, if he's supposed to be Moriarty, he should be a little bit more elusive, don't you think?
Yeah, a little more not bland.
Yeah, but...
So he's like, okay, I challenge you, Holmes, to an appraisal contest.
We're doing another one of these again.
I'm not even going to go through the process of explaining the whole thing, because it doesn't matter. Long story short, Holmes is a genius. He figures everything out. Exactly what happens.
There's almost a moment when Ensho tries to fake it. When Ensho tries to fake him out and say, that was a real one. This was a really expensive piece of artwork that you just destroyed. Just kidding!
Yeah.
Like...
They're like, oh no. They had this point of drama, like, oh, maybe Holmes is wrong. Maybe he didn't figure it out. And inside I'm thinking, nah, he figured it out.
It would have been cool if he'd actually screwed up.
Yeah.
Because then it could have been like a failure that retempered his resolve or something like that. I don't know, something. But at the same time, nope. It's like, oh, I'm just kidding. And then Aoi just shows up after the two of them start arguing and getting ready to beat each other up. And it's just, she shows up to be just bland emotional support. And
all right, stop fighting.
Stop fighting. This is a party, for God's sake. That's the excuse that she gives. This is a party. You shouldn't be fighting. It's like...
And then Ansho just leaves. I'd like to point out that Aoi was a character at one point.
Yeah.
They're giving her the sword art treatment. She had a personality. She had motivations. She was like, oh, I'm here because I'm conflicted about going back to my old town or whatever.
Yeah.
And now she's just jumping on Holmes's dick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Her sole screen time almost entirely in these last few episodes has been her like, Holmes-san, just like looking at him from afar or whatever.
You can't. And then of course what's his name? That's a good
movie star guy.
Yeah,
TV star guy.
Yeah, Akihito. I think Akihito showing up and basically trying to be that guy who's trying to like push her and say, "Hey, you should go for it, dude." Yeah. It's like, I have faith in you, and again, remember when he was a character?
I liked the gag this episode where Akihito was hitting on Rikyu's mom.
Yeah, Yoshie.
And he was just like, oh, yeah, you're so cool. And then Holmes was like, oh, yeah, you guys look good together.
Yeah, and then...
And he learns and he just, like, dies inside. I thought that was actually a pretty funny little
that actually was a funny little moment. And then how they revealed later, like, how Holmes was correct. It would have been cool if he'd revealed this in like, the showdown rather than as an afterthought. That feels to me like what most of the show is. It's just a bunch of afterthought.
Time skip and then explain later.
Yeah, like, it would have been really cool. Like, he's like, and I knew that Ensho's painting was a counterfeit, or had a good idea that it was a counterfeit because of the way he drew the ears. Like, the artist drew the ears in a specific way, like usually with 5 strokes. And Ensho did the same thing with his counterfeit, but something still felt off about it to me. It just didn't feel like it was it was like done through like habit or something like that. It felt like it was forced, which that was actually, again, something that was really cool. And had they explored on it more, it would have been really cool to see more of Holmes' thought process and like actually show, because that's the fun part of mysteries, actually figuring out the thought process.
If you want a good example of a show that does mystery well, go watch the first episode of Detective Conan.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's yeah. Case Closed is the
Detective Conan or Case Closed, however you want to call it.
Just go watch the first episode of Detective Conan, and it gives you this really fun situation of following along with the main character, following along his thought process. How it's pretty much, they explain the whole time from the point of, God, I forget what his name was. Like Shinichi?
Yeah.
I think?
Yeah, Junichi, I think.
No, I think it was Shinichi, and they changed it to Jimmy. In the English dub. But yeah, they go through his entire thought process, the whole episode, him thinking of, well, this happened, and this happened. Like, basically him deducting, and then you get to do this fun little race of like, oh, maybe I can figure it out first.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of that's how you do mysteries well.
Which like, the first couple mysteries in the show were pretty interesting.
Yeah, and hell, and the show has, like, flashes of, oh man, this show could actually be really cool. But it isn't. It's turned into, it went from a mystery kind of into just a generic rom-com sort of deal.
But let's stop ranting about this for this week. We can rant more next week.
Yeah. or the next time when we wrap it up. We are going to talk about Overlord 3. Okay, so we finally get a little bit more resolution from last week's tragedy of an episode.
I like the Emperor. I like him as a character.
Yeah.
I expected him just to be like, oh, yes, good.
Yes.
Do my bidding. Like that kind of like Star Wars Emperor.
Yeah.
But no, he's genuinely calculating. He may not care for individual people a whole lot, but he cares for the country.
Yeah.
Enough at least to try and make it stronger.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he realizes that, and he realizes his own shortcomings is the thing. Like, that he's just put a lot more work on himself just because of how many reforms he's tried to do to make the country better. Mm-hmm. Like, he's made it a lot harder for himself, but that's actually a nice little bit of characterization when he's in the carriage right into Nazareth and he's taking a nap. And he's like, man, this is the first time I've actually been able to nap in several years. And then somebody said, ever since you were a child, right? And I'm like, yep. And he's like, yep. And it just goes to show like what kind of dedication he has to his country, even if it's just at a toll to himself. It was a nice little bit of characterization from a character we've only seen maybe 3 times so far.
I think we're going to see a lot more.
Yeah, I think so too.
Finale's coming up.
Yeah, but they finally go to Nazareth, and Ainz is met. And Ainz gets to meet him, and they have a little back and forth debate between the two of them. Like, the Emperor recognizes what a shitty situation he's in right now, so he's trying to do his best to salvage it, which, good on him for trying.
Once again, Ainz using the catch more flies with sugar.
Yeah, with honey the vinegar.
Yeah. Because Ainz set a precedent immediately upon when the Emperor came in with all his people. Well, first of all, Demiurge said, everyone kneel.
Which,
interesting part, the Emperor did not kneel.
I noticed the same thing. Like, he has a surprisingly strong fortitude or willpower
I think it's probably willpower.
Yeah.
Just to, like, he
didn't even buckle his legs.
He shook a little bit.
Yeah.
He did not fall.
Yeah. Everyone else around him did, but he did not. That was a cool little detail.
And then Ainz started off making the premise of equality.
Mm-hmm.
He talked the whole speech. He talked as an equal to the Emperor.
Yeah,
which obviously
which rubbed Demiurge and a few of the other subordinates.
The other 4 guardians were like, "Yeah, this is upsetting."
Yeah,
but he really made a solid premise of it's better to treat them as friends because if you treat them, we could easily go and destroy their country, destroy their empire.
But you create too many enemies that way, is his ideology.
Yeah, like a country that's been destroyed is just going to throw dirt on Nazareth, is what he said.
Yep. And I really think that it was just a cool little back and forth between the two of them. And then, of course, Demiurge being able to predict exactly how people are going to move. I swear to God, I think Demiurge is trying to overthrow Ainz in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he's on to the fact that Ainz isn't quite who he says he is.
I want to go back a little bit in the episode. I liked the scene where they just had all the Death Knights just walk out and set up tables and put orange juice out.
Yeah, the maids are there.
Talk about the Emperor. As soon as he sees the maids, he's just like, well, it was worth coming here just to see this.
Yeah.
And he's saying, like, Ainz has
money, power, beautiful women. There's nothing I could offer him that he doesn't already have, pretty much.
Everything was a show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bringing the Death Knights out, having everyone lined up, creating a Death Knight out of the noble's head.
That was hilarious. Just, oh, look at me, I'm Ainz. I can create Death Knights out of severed heads.
And the whole situation, he was treating them as equals, but also showing them how ridiculously overpowered he is.
Yeah.
Oh, and the weather.
Yeah.
Like, they probably made the weather bad before he showed up.
It's like, oh, this weather is totally unacceptable. Here, let's fix that.
Yeah, so they just throw up a 6th level spell.
Yeah.
And which makes the old guy freak out.
Yeah.
The old wizard. What was his name?
His name?
Fluter.
Yeah, Fluter.
Fluter.
Yeah.
So he I mean, it was an act. We learned later on. He was him freaking out was an act.
Mm-hmm.
But I just loved the show of power mixed with the treatment of equality.
Yeah.
That was such a power play.
Exactly. It was such a big power play. But of course, we get to see that Demiurge is actually realizing what the Emperor's true game is and making it seem like Ainz already thought a few steps ahead.
Chiming in again with like, this is your plan, right? Yeah, this is your plan.
Yes, totally. Not at all. This wasn't at all an accident. Why don't you explain what you figured out? Oh my god. And then we get to hear Demiurge's thought process some more. Basically how he knows that the Emperor is going to try to start an alliance against Nazarick. He's not going to actually do it himself, though. He's not going to be the one to suggest the alliance, because if he does that, then the Empire will be the first ones to be taken out.
No. The reasoning he said he didn't want to suggest it is that no one would agree with it. Like, everyone knows his personality and how if he get the opportunity, he would wipe someone out.
Yeah.
So he wants someone else to suggest it. That way it'll be more likely to come into an actual alliance.
I think that there's a little bit of that as well. Like, he recognizes if he's the one to suggest it, then Nazarick is going to wipe him off the face of the earth. I recall him saying something like that, too. But anyway, so he tries to do that, and then they were thinking to each other, what should be Lord Ainz's title? Like, if he's going to start a country, he should have a title, a powerful title along with it. And everybody gives some, everybody gives... Beauty King.
Love King.
Supreme King.
Which I thought Supreme King was pretty cool.
Yeah, but then Cocytus decides to give the term Sorcerer King.
Which sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then everybody agrees that does sound awesome. And then...
everybody didn't agree. I was just like, that one!
Yeah. It's like... No, they all kind of say, oh, that's actually really cool. They kind of actually talk a little bit amongst themselves, saying, after Cocytus' suggestion, they're like, oh, ooh, ah, that kind of deal. But then Ainz is like, yes, I am Sorcerer King Ainz will go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all hail Sorcerer King Ainz.
And so then we got to see, Fluter.
Yeah.
We got to see Fluter doing, back when Momon, the Adamantine adventurer, first visited the Empire.
Yeah.
He went to visit Fluter, and then he took off his gauntlet.
Yeah.
Showing his 10th level magic prowess.
Which, I mean, we brought up last week that he was a 10th level magic caster, but it hadn't said that in show yet. It had said that in the books and information, but this has officially been confirmed. Yes, Ainz is a 10th level magic caster.
So he shows off all this magic, and it just reveals that Fluter immediately betrayed the Empire right there.
Yeah,
just by saying, teach me all your magic ways, and he's like, I'll do whatever you want. It didn't say exactly what he asked for, but I'm assuming it's just give me all your information on the Empire. Yeah,
I think what's even more interesting is that the Emperor actually notices that something's off and realized that Fluter was the one to betray him. Because he said, given the opportunity, the old man would have done anything to stick around and study such vast magical potential. Yeah, I was actually surprised when, because I didn't even think about that. The Emperor just kind of immediately. By the way, Emperor has a name, but it's 15 letters or 15 words long. I don't fucking remember the whole thing. So I'm just gonna refer to him as the Emperor. But yeah, he's pretty clever. He realized that he didn't want to stick around, so he must have had a reason. Yeah. And and he figured out the only reason he might have done that is if he'd already known. He wanted to kill him. Yeah. He wanted to get rid of him, but he realized that it would cause too much damage. Yeah. Fluter has so much political pressure just because he's so... he could probably wipe out a town, I think. Yeah. With what he can do with his magic. And so and he's such a high-ranking advisor anyway, so doing anything with him would just plunge things into chaos. So he realizes he has to keep him around. Yeah, so... Again, the Emperor trying to make the best out of a bad situation. I think it's just going to result in... I don't see anyone being able to defeat Ainz. I don't either. I don't see an army of millions of people being able to defeat him. I think the only people that could defeat Ainz is a former player from Yggdrasil, because I doubt that Ainz is the only one out there. Yeah. And there's been speculation towards that anyway because of what happened in Season 1 and Shaltir getting controlled by an item that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, true.
So there's got to be more Yggdrasil players out there, which I imagine they got caught up in this and are realizing that there's another player out there. And I imagine that once Ainz tries to establish Nazarick as a country, that's going to actually come back to bite him in the ass later, because other players know of Nazarick from that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, this episode was really cool. We did actually have a really funny moment, too, pretty early on, when one of the Emperor's Knights jumps into his carriage from horseback.
Oh, yeah.
Watch as I do this. Whoop! That was funny. And then there was also a really cool thing from Demiurge saying that that a somewhat intelligent man is often easier to read than a fool is.
Yeah.
Just kind of how he's...
How he predicts that. You can predict a smart guy. It's hard to predict an idiot.
Yep, exactly. You can predict a smart guy as long as you are smarter than him. Which is kind of sad, actually, because I like all these characters that have been introduced so far. I don't want any of them to die. But the Emperor's going to die.
More of them to die?
Yeah, which...
Rest in peace, Foresight.
Rest in peace, Foresight. Rest in peace, the majority of the Empire that was in the town square with Mare. Which, by the way, Mare is just like, just in case they weren't dead, let me close these chasms that I opened in the ground.
Yeah, I can see like if someone were down there like, I'm not dead! I feel happy!
I could go for a walk! Smash! Oh,
man. That's it for Overlord this week. Last up, we have Revue Starlight.
Yes, Revue Starlight. Another really good episode.
I love how much you've come around to the show.
I was actually surprised on it too. This episode, this series has done a lot to engage me, like in the later episodes in particular. It was a slow burn, but it was worth it. Mm-hmm. Like, I really am feeling the show now.
Yeah, so they revealed the story of Starlight.
Yeah.
Hikari brought over a book, and
The Starlight Gatherer, which is what the play Starlight is based on.
I thought that was a cool little way to do it.
Yeah.
And instead of having Hikari narrate it, they basically just showed us the 99th performance of Starlight.
With Hikari's narration describing the story of the thing. But we get to see some of that. We get to see the play. We get to see what the play was like. An interesting note that I took was that the main characters, the two main goddesses, Claire and Flora, they both have, like, in their outfits, they have a red cape and a blue cape. Which, again, they have they had a red sash and a blue sash, like, over their shoulders. So kind of reminiscent of Hikari and Karen. Mm-hmm. In case it wasn't obvious, the main characters are supposed to be these two, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's what the whole play was.
Yeah.
It was like an analogy of...
An allegory, yeah.
Allegory of, like, all their characters that they played in the 99th Starlight represents all the trials that they've been through this entire season.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, Karen was originally arrogance. That was, because the seven goddesses of sin, I think. Mm-hmm. Her sin was arrogance. Then we had jealousy, which was, what was her name?
I don't remember.
Mihiru.
When she was just doting all over Karen.
Yeah.
She was jealous of Hikari.
Yeah.
You had not Futaba.
Yeah.
Red-haired girl.
Kaoruko. Yeah.
Is that Kaoruko?
Kaoruko was blue-haired. Futaba was kind of a pink-haired girl.
And she was, I think she was like Might
or something.
Wrath,
something like that. And Kaoruko was evasion, which... Again, and then the most important one, Nana was despair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I got a little more info on Nana this episode.
This was a little bit more on reasoning on why Nana was so insistent on reliving the 99th performance. She'd alluded to it before. This officially confirmed it. Like, she didn't want everybody to suffer. And she didn't want anyone to lose their shine. Yeah, she was willing to live through this time loop, take it all on herself, be completely alone pretty much, because she was the only one who could remember it, just as long as everybody else could be happy. She was caught in that cycle of despair. which, again, she represented the goddess of despair in the 99th performance of Starlight, so totally fitting.
Yeah.
But we get to reveal that Starlight is in fact a tragedy, because it's all about... Because when Claire makes Flora, or Flora, the other one, I don't know. It is Claire. Claire makes Flora the promise that, okay, you've lost your memory because of an accident. We can get it back as long as we grasp those stars. But as they approach the stars, Claire is blinded by it. Shortly after Flora regains her memory, and the two are completely separated forever in the original play, which Starlight is supposed to be a tragedy in that regard. And then for the 100th performance, they reveal that they're changing some things, like changing some of the lines to make it snappier and better and stuff like that. But this upsets Nana to no end. She's like, this isn't my Starlight.
Yeah, because she's been doing it for God knows how long.
Yeah, which Juna actually points out something interesting. It's like, hard to believe that was only 2 months ago. It seems so distant.
Yeah, it's a nice little nod.
Nice little illusion that we've been living the same time loop for quite a while now. But it's kind of like what they did in Steins Gate, the original Steins Gate, with Mayuri saying, I've kept having these terrible dreams that I was dying repeatedly.
What if they did ever have dreams of that? Mm-hmm. Is that repeating?
Maybe, the repeat performance. But
so then it brings us into the fight scene.
Yeah, which it was a lot less... It wasn't as much fighting as much as it was just reason for the fights this time around.
Because the fight was pretty simple. I think it was just all on it was all on a flat ground with the symbol for the 99th Seisho Festival on the background, which is just pretty much represents it. It was the only thing that Nana cared about. Yeah. That's why there was no other big old grandiose effects on the stage. The stage represents exactly what you care about the most.
Yes, exactly. And it was her and Karin fighting this time around. That was because it's revealed that Karin was the one who was responsible for everything. It wasn't Ikari who was...
That's who she felt was responsible for everything.
I mean, which it's partially because Hikari was there, which is what reignited Karin's promise. It was somebody to inspire her and push her forward.
I think it's because she didn't shine. Karin didn't shine that bright until Hikari showed up again.
Yeah. It kind of reignited that promise between the two of them. Yeah. And that was really cool. We get to see the two of them fight for a while. And
the song was really cool.
Yeah, the song was so good.
It started off with such a intense swell.
Yeah. And it was the review of Bonds, which Kiz Naive actually pointed this out, that the Japanese word for bond sounds very similar to the Japanese word for wound. Which is why the Kizna program is all about trying to get people to feel pain or strengthen their bonds through pain. Which, I don't know. It was that has nothing to really do with anything, but it's just an interesting little aside, I thought. But the two of them fight, and Nana loses.
Which essentially makes it so... I'm assuming, based off of that loss, that Nana lost any chance of actually becoming the top star.
Yeah. I think... Which I don't know how the exact rules for this contest work.
Is it win-loss?
I thought for the longest time it was once you lost 2 fights, you were out. But that couldn't have been true because it was revealed later. It was revealed a few episodes ago that Karuko lost pretty much every fight that she was in, and she was still competing in the auditions. Yeah. So, I don't know. But we finally... And then we got to see some resolution between Juna and Nana. Basically... And then Juna giving her onslaught of inspirational quotes.
Well, she didn't want to. She just wanted. She's gave her 2 of them,
and Nana's like, "Is there any more?"
Yeah, more.
But it's just an onslaught of inspirational quotes, and she just keeps giving them more and more and
more. She had 2 more, and she was like, "Well, is that it?"
It's like, huh? And then she gives a few more from a couple other people. I don't remember all the quotes, but they were all pretty inspirational quotes, and they were all pretty good. But then it ends with, I knew this was coming from a mile away. She says a quote that nobody's heard before, and it's just where did you hear that? It's where did you hear that? Those are my words.
It sounded like something that one of the stage girls would say before they started a fight.
Exactly.
Like, they give their name, and they give, like, a big old speech.
Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much what we got here. And then Juna and Nana hug each other, and it's just... And they were like...
Nice little moment.
And they were like, you know, you've been doing this for so long. It's actually kind of funny that you're so quick to cry, just like a child, because she's been holding it in for so long.
Oh yeah, and I should point out that Nana told Juna,
what she'd been doing
about all the loops. Yeah,
that she'd been doing that this whole time, and I think that this episode was really good. Like,
yeah,
I still think. And then it was revealed after the credits that there are 4 people left, I think. Karin is one of them. Hikari's another one. And then I want to say Claudine and Tensho.
Probably.
I think those are the remaining 4. But then, or not Tensho, Tendo, Maya. I think those 4 are the ones remaining. And, which is weird because, as Nana pointed out, it's only an 8-person audition. But so...
Karin broke the rules.
Yeah, Karin broke the rules. She's the 9th person. So what part do you play, Karin? Stuff like that. That was really cool.
I really I want the finale to be everyone fighting the giraffe.
Yes, fight Mr. Giraffe. I think that's what they're leading up to. Like, I can't see it ending any other way at this point.
I talked about that last week, so...
I legitimately think that is what's going to happen. There was also a little funny moment when they were looking over the script, and it's like, this line really captures the pretzelness. It's like, I mean, okay, that's not even close to the
Karin, you're retarded.
You idiots.
So it's fine, though, because if you're going off the advice given by the hobo guy from Chio School Road, it doesn't matter, because she's cute.
Yeah, your looks are the things that matter. Don't screw your academics.
That's it for Revue Starlight. So Steins Gate had there's an earthquake.
We didn't watch Steins Gate this week.
Oh wait, no, Steins Gate was. I'm saying, wait, was Steins Gate stopped? No, Steins Gate wasn't delayed because of the earthquake, was it?
I don't remember, but
I think it was just delayed for another reason.
Yeah, Steins Gate was delayed, though.
And then also an earthquake happened.
Yeah.
Which, Jesus Christ, fucking Japan gets so many earthquakes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the term for it is. I think they're on like a ring of fire. I think that's what it's called.
I think it was a fault line. I mean, because that's what the
I think people call it the ring of fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the separate situation. But yeah, Steins Gate got delayed a week for this week that we're talking about. Remember, in the beginning of the episode, we talked about how we got confused and we started doing episodes all in a weird order. So we're just gonna talk about that when we get back.
Yeah,
in the next 3 weeks.
And I'm pretty sure at that point, Steins Gate 0 will have concluded.
Nope, Steins Gate is 13. I think
it's 23 episodes.
23?
Yeah,
23.
23.
Oh, okay. Well, there's some shows that are going to be 13 episodes, and they're going to like bleed over 1 week into the next season.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure Steins Gate 0 will have concluded by the time we get back.
Okay.
And we'll be talking about it when we return.
So, thank you everyone again for listening and to us talk about anime this week. If you have any suggestions on what you want us to talk about else, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below. And that's going to be it for this week, right? You got anything else to say?
Nope. Pretty much all for me.
See you guys in about 3 weeks.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.